Yo, what's up, guys? It's Goose from the Wise Wealth Discord, coming back at you with another watch list for the week ahead. I apologize in advance for the last month and a half. Been very, very busy with work, um, family in town, friends in town, weddings, vacations. It's just been a lot, and when you add in, the fact that I have a full-time job, it's not the easiest to be pumping out content like this. Do know it sounds like excuses, but we are back. We made it back. I wasn't going to be gone forever, and we're going to continue to keep murdering the market as we always do here at Wise Wealth. I wanted to go over just some of the stocks and some of the levels we were looking at. It did appear that last week we had a little bit of a bear trap. We broke out of this range that we had on the SPY, and as you can see, the daily we were down quite a bit, and we just started pumping right back up right towards the end of close. Um, it's looking pretty strong since the bear trap was real. It started falling, caught all those shorts, took that liquidity, and just started setting it up. You could see in pre-market for SPY and Q, we're up about a 0.5%, so it looks like it's going to be another typical Monday. The thing that I did like about this is it was kind of like a retest of the previous all-time highs that we had. So once we broke this range, it got a little scary, but it's like retesting this and holding this trend line looks well. So it's like we're still holding pretty bullish right now. It's just kind of at those questionable levels, but you can't really be afraid of that. IWM looks pretty solid as well. Back it up a little bit. 4 hour. They're basically really dependent on the 10-year Treasury, and as we announced little while ago when the Federal Reserve had their meeting, they were they were expecting to start like a funding program for yields, basically. So it's kind of a way to add liquidity to the market. So now that they're buying back bonds in their little program that they started, yields have been kind of declining since, and that's always going to be good for IWM and small cap stocks that are heavily affected by them. I was getting a little afraid about the head and shoulders that was forming, but it could also be a little W shape. There's obviously a lot of liquidity and a lot of volume here. So we're looking to break through, 210, and then you can start to look a little bit more bullish. SPY with that daily engulfing that it has, it could, go right back up and test all-time highs at 533. And then Q's, it came back, tested, and then it has its all-time highs at 460. So those are just levels I'll be watching out for. It could continue to range and keep kind of going like that, or it could break out and go higher. We'll just have to wait and see how it does play out. This is the path right here. Could go up, test this, do like a higher high, and then go. Or it could also, oh geez, I always like mess that up. I don't know how exactly that tool works, but it could also, come up, double top, and then, continue to go back down. We'll just have to wait and see how it does play out. There are things that look encouraging though when it comes to individual stocks. I showed you the yields coming down. The dollar's been coming down a little bit. I don't know if, bonds necessarily affect the dollar. Right now, it's just kind of, in a bigger range. Bulls obviously want to see the dollar come down for it to, give it a little space. One thing I don't usually cover a lot is crypto, but their charts do look really good. And we had the news that the SEC approved the spot Bitcoin ETF or Ethereum ETF, I think it was. So when you start to see it being institutionalized throughout Congress and, bigger institutions buying in, it's usually a good sign that it's going to be here to stay. And the fact that it's like a brand new um, asset class, like this could be a really big opportunity at these levels. But he said, she said kind of thing. The charts still look really good. If it does break out above the 70,000 range, you could easily go see it test the 72 and then, break through all-time highs. Ethereum flagging up just as beautifully. So when it comes to, these bigger cryptocurrencies like Ethereum and Bitcoin, I do think they're one of the better ones to invest in for the long term. But when you see charts like this, there's ways you could invest in them, kind of like Coinbase is one that we watch a lot, and that one's continuously looking bullish as well. It's like it's breaking out of this flag. It has a beautiful trend line, and it just kind of keeps inching forwards. It's like when it gets to this trend line, it starts to break above, comes back, retest it. It's like now it's looking solid. If that gets above 250, you're going to probably see 280. Gets above that, 300, hopefully. That's been my price target on coin for a little while. About 300, I wanted to go see and make it higher high. It's been making higher highs, higher lows for a while now. So that's kind of crypto that I've been looking at. Apple, we posted a while back in Wise Wealth just how similar these little corrections were on the stock itself. They'll come down with the falling wedge, and then they'll break above, and it'll lead to another stock market rally. And then since this break on earnings, the break, the consolidation, it's just continuing to inch higher. We'll see if we can get exactly up here or break higher. So it's looking for like 200 would be a new all-time high for Apple. Triple top, head and shoulders, whatever you want to call it. It's still continuing to look pretty bullish. Microsoft, you had that huge drop where it was losing this level, and then right at the end it picked it up on the daily. So it's like that's just such a strong close right here. It looks like the bulls were just done and wanted to eat that dip up really fast on Friday. The volume, that's even a bigger confluence in your trades. You're seeing a big volume spike and it's going up. It's showing that people want it at that price. There's a lot of demand. So it's like, how long are they going to keep it in this range? We don't know. We're going to continue to watch it. Nvidia, just an absolute tank. We've been watching this. Jimmy's never once went bearish on Nvidia. He was showing this little consolidation. It finally broke above, and as you can see, we breached 1,000. Jimmy was posting down here, right after earnings. He's like, I could easily see it hitting 1,000. Now it's at 1,100 in pre-market. So it's like these things are continuing to look bullish. People are continuing to keep buying. It is an election year. Election years are typically a little bit more bullish than like an average year. Tesla, just in this very, very tight range, man. You go to the daily, there's obviously something big that's about to happen. Last time we had all these inside bars, there was a huge move following. We're just going to have to wait and see. I do want to see the stock perform well. It's just been such a laggard that it's hard to have confluence that it's, going to end up doing something, because you see kind of where it's at on the daily. You look at the rest of the Mag 7s, the Microsofts, the Apples, Meta, they're just, going higher. AMD's been kind of questionable in the last, few months too. But you like to find strength in stocks, and when Tesla's looking like this, when all the other stocks are going up, that's a little questionable. But the level I'm looking for is 180. If it can get past that, then it could start to maybe try and rock and roll up to 200 again. But nice consolidation phase. It seems like buyers are trying to keep it around this price instead of selling lower and obviously going back down to 138. If that did happen, I think I would be, a little bit more heavy on the long-term buys. But as of recently, I've been kind of, with a couple common shares here and there on Tesla, just to make sure that I don't miss the dip in the long term, because I do believe in the company long term, and they may have margin problems now, but I think that if they innovate correctly and they continue to advance a little bit more into the AI side of things, and they keep the brand going with their superchargers that they sell, they could make a good imprint on the EV market. Meta, a nice little bull flag since their earnings. They dropped down, filled the gap, and now they're just consolidating here. I would like to see it break above, the 480 level right here for me to get bullish to maybe 500, and then try to make all-time highs there. AMD, they finally broke out of this huge downtrend that they had. So it's a nice break in the right direction. We have beautiful consolidation. As you can see, NVIDIA has been very strong too. So AMD is a semiconductor just like it. 170 is what I'm looking at. I'll go back up here to one of their 3x bull shares that I play. It's good for trading, SOXL. It's a chip maker. It's obviously in a good uptrend, making higher highs and higher lows. We'll just have to see if it can break above its previous high of $56, $57. Breaks above that, it can continue to keep going, and you're going to see NVIDIA and AMD continue to keep going too. So AMD's on watch over 170 for sure. Google, just kind of a consolidation area, little pullback right here. This is the daily. Probably should break it down a little bit more, see if we can get some good areas. Yeah, nice little uptrend. It's been very strong the last year or two actually. Google's just continuing to go up and inch higher, and Jimmy was saying how it was funny how Google was showing like strength, through the sell-off, and we were like pointing it out, and then their earnings came out, and they destroyed them, and they were bringing up some of the AI things that they were doing in the partnerships. So there's a lot of good things going on at Google that can continue to keep going. Amazon fell out of the range. It doesn't look the best, as do some other stocks. They're a little bit weaker, down 1.5%. They did, breach the all-time highs, and then they fell right back through. So that's not really the most bullish thing in the world. There's obviously going to be a very strong support at 165 if it continues to keep going. But I'm staying away from longs right now, just simply because of this trend line that it broke through. I would have to see it get back within the 178 range for me to start to turn bullish, to see the 180 push, 185, somewhere around there. Netflix, nice little sell off, and then they caught a bid towards the end. It's hard to get bearish on Netflix because they did breach all-time highs, tried to fall back through, but now they're regaining momentum above the previous all-time high, trying to turn it into support. So if they hold this, I could see a good week, where they go above their all-time highs and keep pushing, or maybe double top right at 665. It's not super clear. I think there are better setups and better things to look at. AMD, Tesla, the ones that are consolidated very nicely, look decent. NVIDIA looks good. Microsoft, Apple. But like Netflix, Amazon, they're just not super clear. They look a little bit more bearish than some of the other ones. AMD's right in range. That looks good. Meta right in range. Tesla in range. NVIDIA is just kind of, it filled its first gap. There's another gap down here, which I highly doubt we see for a little while, but eventually maybe if we go hit a double top and try and bring it back down. Airbnb, that one did break down in the downside, so that's most likely going to lead to some selling off. I'd assume eventually it'll get below 141. Keep going. Game, you can see it starting to squeeze again this morning, 75%. What happened though is like we posted this chart that first day it started squeezing because it broke out, came back. Look at exactly where the buying momentum started to come, right on the trend line. And I promise you, I didn't move this trend line since the last time I posted it on Discord. I was like, yep, it broke out, comes back and tested exactly. So that's why we have these levels that you see that are being broken in trend, or a higher high or a higher low, because those are going to be good points to start to build the support for the bull case. And they're eating it up this morning. 74% is pretty big. So congrats to people who got in. AMC starting to squeeze a little bit. Last time we had a squeeze week, we had a really good week in all equities. So we'll see. One that I've been kind of watching, because they had a 7% move since their last earnings, is DG, Dollar General. The reason I'm watching them is slightly because of my own bias, is I still do think there is a recession ahead. Dollar General is obviously a cheaper alternative to your grocery shopping and stuff like that. And you're probably 9 times out of 10 before a recession, DG, Dollar General, is a big indicator that if their earnings start to ramp up, then it's showing that consumers are looking for a cheaper option. And Dollar General is a great cheaper option. And with how oversold they were after a few of their earnings in 2023, I would like to see this dip continue to be bought up. This daily right here is a pretty big, signal that, sellers aren't going to really sell much more and buyers are looking to step in. So if you can get above like the 150 range, then maybe you could start to see another high at 180, and that would be a big resistance to work through. but 180 right now would be my price target. They're at like 136 right now, so we'll see how they perform for the rest of the year, with maybe a recession coming as GDP is declining and stuff like that. I say maybe because I'm not 1,000% sure. Snap has been very, very strong. They're just kind of basing it out, trying to get into phase two in the stock. They're in phase one right now, just consolidation, just buyers stepping up, making sure that it doesn't go down below 750, 780, somewhere around there. And if it can break above the 17, then you got a gap to fill that 22. So it just kind of keeps working its way up. DraftKings finally broke out of their uptrend that they had going for a very long time, so that's kind of scary. I could obviously see a retest and of this, get a retest of the gap and then try and get back in this trend line. We'll see if it does. I've seen DraftKings do some crazy dip buying. I don't usually trade it, but it is a nice like high beta one that moves quite a bit. Hood, Jimmy's been all over Robinhood. It's a nice little cup and handle, breaks above, just kind of working its way through the kinks, right above 22.30. It looks like it can go for more. We'll see how it plays out, but there's a nice phase one, kind of like snaps in consolidation towards the bottom, broke the range. Now it's going to continue with its higher highs and higher lows. Boeing, I don't really watch that. Shop broke out of their little trend that they had going that looks slightly bearish, unless broken through, fills this gap. So there's a few bearish ones, but there are ones that look really well too. ARC is still in phase one. It's another range at the bottom of the thing, so we're waiting to see if it can get above and start to make a bigger push. BABA, it did have its big breakout, but this is the level you want to see held. You could see the consolidation. You could see that you want this to build out its support right here, and that's what the bulls are trying to hang on to. If it can hold this 78, 80 range, then you could start to work back up into the 90s and the hundreds, and then start something where every dip is going to be bought at a higher price. That's kind of what I wanted to see. One that I thought was interesting was oil. This isn't an ETF by any means, but this is just an energy stock, Exxon, and they look pretty good even on the daily and stuff like that. It's like a nice little bull flag. It's been kind of sold off a little bit, but this would be a big level. If it does break this and it starts to break some of these resistances here, that could easily start to head towards all-time highs again. So watching oil, OPEC announced that they're going to continue to keep cutting production. They don't want prices to get too low, so they're not going to, overindulge in their drilling process. Just business matters. SMCI, beautiful bull flag. Still looking very bullish. SMCI is another semiconductor thing, super micro computer. And it's kind of the same as SOXL and NVIDIA and AMD. Is like all the chips are continuing to look strong. And the weekly may see a lot of red, but it's just really, resetting the RSI. And eventually this is probably going to break out and continue to go higher, 1500, 1700, until the trend is broken. And you don't want to be fear mongering. It's like, oh, like we're going to go into recession, sell everything. Like these are continuing to show lots of strength. Woodward is just, going higher, broke above, and it's going to continue to squeeze out those shorts, until that time comes and the narrative starts to change. But I just bring that up because it's like MU, Dell, like all of them are very, very strong. And if you're short and going all the way up, you're just going to continue to lose money. And I know, there's a lot of people out there, oh, the stocks have just been so high and they just keep going. I understand that, but until proven otherwise, where all these trends are starting to break down and it's starting to fall below supports and the EMAs, there's no reason to turn bearish. There really isn't. There's a lot of reasons to be bullish until proven otherwise. And once it does happen, then obviously we can get into some good shorts and start to find levels of resistance that where they would sell off. But like things like this on a 4-hour time frame, that is just such a strong dip buying moment. And the bears thought they had something going, got trapped, and now they're going to get smoked this morning, being up 0.25%. Same thing with SPY. So as of right now, things are looking pretty bullish. We'll see how the week plays out. The squeeze looks like it's on, so I could see us trying to test all-time highs. Is in my opinion, we're already halfway there. We're at 453. We just need to get to 461 on the Qs, and then 533 on the SPY, which is maybe a 0.5%. So that's it for this week's watch list. Just wanted to give you guys an update. Be sure to tune in to the Wise Wealth Discord if you guys want to follow up on some of our analysis and some of the charts that we want to see breakthroughs and breakdowns from. Hope everyone had a great weekend. Let's get back to work.